This is Paul from Paul 10 Economics Tutoring, and today I'm going to explain to you the concept of externalities. This is a very, very important concept, whether you are a IB economics student or A-level economics student. Let's look at definitions first. Externalities are unintended side effects or consequences resulting from economic activities that affect third parties who did not choose to incur the effect. What does that mean? Well, let's look at some examples. Factory produce a pollution. Think about if you own a jeans factory, right? Besides producing jeans, which is economic activities, you're also producing pollution, right, into the air, into the water. So that is your unintended side effects because you do not purposely want to pollute the air, pollute the environment, but it is an unintended side product of your gene pollution or of your gene production, right? And that sort of pollution affects third parties, like people living around your factory, like the greater environment, right? And they did not choose to incur the effect, right? So that is your externality from a gene production factory. Now, when we think about externalities, it could be both negative, for example, in the jeans factory, or it could be positive, for example, in beekeeping, right? If you raise bees and you sell honey, your bees help to pollinate the flowers and the crops, and consequently, you help to increase the production from your crops. And selling your honey is your economic activity. In this case, helping to improve the production of the crops is your side effect, right? It's your positive externalities. So when we think about externalities, I ask my students to always think about to categorize them first, right? Whether it's a negative externality or a positive externality, whether it's a supply side, whether it's a demand side, right? So in factory case, it's a supply side. In a cigarette case, then it will be a consumption side, right? A bit a demand side, because by demanding cigarettes, you might feel good, but you are giving people around you secondhand smoke. So there are four categories that we need to think about here, right? Your negative externalities of supply, negative externalities of demand, your positive externalities of supply, and your positive externalities of demand, right? So how do we look at it from the graphs? Because as economists, we love the graphs. Let's look at this graph on the right, right? The basic setup for any externality graph is your demand curves and your supply curves. In this case, they are called special names called MPC, MSC, MSB, and PB. All that means is marginal personal cost, marginal social cost, marginal social benefit, and marginal personal benefit. It might sound a bit complex, but let me take you through it. When you look at any externality graph, you always start at the point where your MPC equals your MPB, right? Your personal cost equals personal benefit. The reason for that is that when personal cost equals personal benefit, that is an equilibrium at which transactions happen, right? So you always start at this point. This is a rule that you have to remember for exams, for assignments, whatever. Where you want to get to? You want to get to where MSB equals to your marginal cost, marginal personal cost, right? So marginal social benefit equals to marginal personal cost, this point, right? What do you do? Then you connect those two points, you draw a line down, and you create a triangle. And this triangle is your welfare gain or welfare loss, right? And the trick I have for you is that your triangle should always be pointing to the point where you want to get to. In this case, we want to get to here, right? Because that is the point where you maximize social benefit. So the triangle is pointing to this point, okay? Now, that's the first step. Second step, we have to categorize it, right? What is this? Well, in this case, you have your social benefit lower than your personal benefit at every price point, meaning that this product should be consumed less from a social perspective, right? So this is a case of negative because it should be consumed less. So this is a negative demand, right? So negative externality to demand, okay? So what could be an example of this? Well, cigarettes, right? Cigarettes, you're demanding cigarette, but from a society's perspective, lower amount of cigarette should be demanded, should be consumed. Okay, let's look at two other examples. Ooh, a bit different now. Look at the left, we have two supply lines, right? And your social cost, right? Marginal social cost is lower every price point, lower than your marginal personal cost, right? Meaning that this product should be produced less, right? Because every price point is lower, so it should be produced less, right? So this is a case of marginal, this is a case of negative externality of supply, right? So this is something that should be supplied less. If you look at example on the right, your marginal social cost is greater than your marginal personal cost. This will be example of externality, positive externality to supply, right? It should be produced more. Does it make sense? If not, look at the triangle. Always look at the triangle, right? What is it pointing to? It's pointing to this line, right? This point here, right? Meaning that there's lower quantity should be produced. There you go. Low quantity should be produced equals to negative externality to supply. Look at the triangle here. What is it doing? Pointing to more, right? Pointing to an increased amount. So there's 4. It's a positive externality to supply. Okay? There you go. That's the concept of externalities. To sum up, always think about 1, where we currently at, right? That's as your personal cost equals personal benefit. Where you want to get to, right? That's your social cost equals social benefit. Okay? And draw the triangle. Look at where the triangle is pointing to, right? Should we increase supply? Should we decrease supply? Should we increase consumption? Should we decrease consumption? And you put that in one of the 4 categories, and you know exactly what the kind of externality is. Thank you very much. I hope to see you in the next video.